Alright, so up to this point I've done quite a bit of card show content, but one question I haven't really addressed is how do I pack for a show? And the reality of the situation is there isn't one right way to pack. Everyone has their own approach, depending on what kind of experience they're looking for. Well, today I want to share some tips and tricks to help you think through how to pack and prepare as a showgoer so you can be better equipped for your next show. Now, no matter what kind of show you're attending, you'll want to think about whether you're bringing cards to trade or sell, what you're hoping to pick up, and how you'll keep everything organized as you go. Your carrying setup plays a big part. Some people roll in with a briefcase full of slabs, others bring a backpack, and some people just stuff things in their pockets or an empty two-row. Any of these approaches can work. It really just depends on your goals. I could probably do a whole segment on each one of these, but for the sake of time, I'm going to run through some of the more popular carrying options and break down the pros and cons. To start off, some people use rolling cases, and I've seen everything from travel luggage to versions specifically designed for cards. These are great if you're bringing a larger inventory or just don't want to carry a bunch of stuff on your back all day. They're easier on your shoulders and can usually hold multiple boxes, binders, and supplies. And I've even seen people use these as makeshift stools at some of the bigger shows. That said, depending on the venue, maneuvering through tight aisles or crowds can be a pain. Not just for the person pulling it, but for everyone else trying to get around them as well. And keep that in mind because it applies to pretty much any carrying solution you might use at your next show. Perhaps the most popular option these days, especially if you are focused on graded cards, are Pelican or Zion-style cases. And to be clear, those are brand names that have become shorthand for this style of case as a whole. Most of these come with foam inserts or customizable rows that help protect your inventory while making it easy to flip through cards on the fly, which is perfect if you're planning to trade or sell. And by the way, if you're going to do that, I suggest having your cards priced ahead of time too. When it comes to these hard cases though, I would just caution you to pay close attention to the foam. You want something that's versatile but also durable enough to handle repeated use without breaking down. And I recently picked up a version for top-loaded cards that utilizes a firmer, removable foam insert. I'm looking forward to giving that one a proper test run. That said, I don't usually bring these to shows. First, they get heavy fast. Some come with shoulder straps, but even then, it's not the most comfortable setup for a full day on the floor. And then second, if I want to do any sort of digging, I have to set the case down and then keep my eye on it the whole time. And I've lost count of how many times I've seen or heard of people accidentally leaving theirs behind. At a small show, there's a good chance you'll get lucky and recover it, but a big one, you can all but consider it gone. So while those hard cases are great for protection and presentation, they're not always the most practical choice if you're someone who likes to stay hands-on, which brings me to my go-to option, the backpack. Well, technically I use a heavy-duty drawstring gym bag I picked up years ago. I prefer that over a traditional backpack because I don't have to worry about someone getting into one of the zippered compartments from behind. On top of that, it's not bulky, it's got a drink holder, and it's got just the right amount of space in compartments to hold pickups and supplies. And while I probably could squeeze a standard two-row box in there, I typically carry a pair of empty Elite Trainer boxes instead. I don't even collect Pokemon. I found them at a shop for $1 each a few years back, and it turns out they work great for all different kinds of top-loaded cards. That said, there are definitely some downsides to wearing any sort of bag on your back. Anytime you want to grab something, you've got to take it off so you can access the inside. And depending on how much you're carrying, it can start to wear on your shoulders after a while, especially at longer events like the National. Not only that, but similar to bulky cases and rolling bags, backpacks can be difficult for other attendees to try and navigate around as well. Ultimately, that's the trade-off with something like this. It gives you versatility and storage, but it wears on you over time and might even require a full-on unboxing right in the middle of the aisle. Now, if you're looking to keep some of that same utility but don't mind switching to something more compact, consider a good crossbody or even a fanny pack. And admittedly, this is not an approach I've gone with before, so I had to defer to people that have. Obviously, these aren't built for bulk, but they're great for quick access to the essentials. Your phone, a couple top loaders or slabs, and a little cash. And unlike a backpack, you don't have to worry about someone reaching in without you noticing. Like I said, I haven't gone this route before, but I wanted you to know it was an option nonetheless. Okay, now that I've covered some of the different carrying options, let's do a quick rundown of some of the things you might actually want to pack inside. I mentioned cash in the last section. I'm not going to try to tell you how much to carry or specifically where this should go, but I think it's an essential if you're headed to a show, because it's not always guaranteed that you'll have enough signal for digital payment options. so cash is king. Just don't carry an amount that makes you feel uncomfortable, and that includes when you're flying. You can always visit a bank once you've landed and you're closer to the show. There are some shows that have ATMs on site, but I wouldn't always count on that being a reliable option. In addition to cash, you might want to consider bringing a portable battery or a phone charger, for obvious reasons like looking up comps and paying for cards. You might also want to use a note-taking app to mark down booths to come back to later, or have a saved list of card prices in case reception is spotty. The next one is pretty obvious, but don't forget to pack extra supplies, and I try not to overdo it here because the more you pack, the heavier that bag or case gets. I'll usually toss in a few top loaders, sleeves, and team bags, maybe even a snap case, just enough to cover the basics. Worst come to worst, you can typically purchase additional supplies on site. And then lastly, you've got to take care of yourself. If it's a longer show, don't forget to pack snacks and water. The nice thing about packing snacks is that you'll eventually consume them, and your bag will get a little lighter as the day goes on. I often have to remind myself to keep drinking water at the bigger shows because I get busy and I don't think about it, but if you don't, by day 2 or 3, you'll definitely start to feel it. At the end of the day, there's no perfect way to pack for a card show, but taking the time to think through your setup can make a big difference once you hit the floor. Just remember, staying safe is part of that prep too. Keep your bag zipped, be mindful of where you set things down, and don't flash a ton of cash when you don't need to. With that being said, don't overthink things. Planning ahead is important, but don't let it get in the way of you enjoying the show. Go in with a plan, stay flexible, and most of all, have fun. If you found any of this helpful today, make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe you've got a packing tip that I didn't address. Feel free to drop that in the comments as well. And as always, thanks for watching.